For a moment, close your eyes. And imagine this. There is a place on Earth so cold, so silent, and so unreachable that it almost doesn't feel like it belongs to this planet at all. That place is Antarctica, an endless, frozen, white continent. From the outside, it looks like nothing but ice. But honestly, I think the most terrifying part isn't what's on the surface. It's what lies beneath it. Because under that massive sheet of ice, scientists have discovered lakes hidden for millions of years, life forms surviving in complete darkness, unexplained signals, and mysteries unsettling enough to send chills down your spine. And the most disturbing part is this. We only know a tiny fraction of Antarctica. The rest of it still remains silent. And who knows? Maybe beneath that silence are secrets humanity isn't ready to face yet. Today, we're going to uncover 10 terrifying mysteries hidden beneath the ice of Antarctica. 1. Lake Vostok, the lost world, beneath the ice. Nearly 4 kilometers beneath Antarctica's thick ice sheet lies a place that sounds like something straight out of science fiction, Lake Vostok. This is no ordinary lake. It's a massive, dark body of water stretching for around 250 kilometers, completely cut off from the outside world for millions of years. Just think about that for a second. The last time sunlight touched this lake, human civilization didn't even exist. According to scientists, Lake Vostok has remained isolated for roughly 15 million years, which means if life exists there, it may have evolved entirely separately from the rest of life on Earth. And honestly, that possibility alone is deeply unsettling. Because it suggests that on this very planet, there could be a form of life that feels almost alien. Maybe it's only microbial life, or maybe it's something more. Maybe in that darkness, beyond the reach of human eyes and cameras, life has been quietly surviving all this time, unseen, untouched, and completely unknown. And the most fascinating part? Most of Lake Vostok is still a mystery. We still don't truly know what's down there. 1. The pyramid-shaped mountains. While examining satellite images of Antarctica, researchers and internet users noticed something deeply strange. Rising out of a sea of ice were mountains that looked almost perfectly shaped like pyramids. And the first thought that crosses your mind is simple. That can't be natural. Because they look too smooth, too symmetrical, too intentional. Of course, scientists say these are natural geological formations known as nunataks, mountain peaks that rise above surrounding glaciers. And yes, that explanation makes sense. But let's be honest, the image still doesn't sit right. Some shapes trigger something in the human mind the moment we see them. We instinctively try to assign meaning to them, and these sharp Antarctic peaks do exactly that. That's why people have spent years asking the same question. What if they're not just mountains? What if the ice is hiding traces of something far older? Something that was never fully erased? Maybe the answer is simple, or maybe it isn't. But when it comes to Antarctica, even the most ordinary-looking things can leave behind the deepest doubts. 1. Giant caves beneath the ice. From a distance, Antarctica looks like nothing but endless ice. But beneath that frozen surface, there may be an entirely different world. Research suggests that in some parts of the continent, geothermal heat rising from below the Earth has created vast cave systems beneath the ice. Invisible, silent, dark. Hidden voids stretching deep below the frozen surface. Some of these caves may extend for hundreds of meters. And what fascinates me most is this. Despite the lethal cold outside, conditions inside some of these caves may actually be far more stable, even relatively livable. And that immediately raises a haunting question. Could something be living there? Scientists have already found evidence of microbial life in some of these hidden environments, which means that in a world without sunlight, without noise, and almost completely cut off from the rest of Earth, life may still have found a way to survive. And to me, that's incredible, because it doesn't just change how we see Antarctica. It changes how we think about life itself. Maybe life doesn't need as much as we once believed. Maybe a little warmth, a little energy, and millions of years of silence are enough. And maybe, deep inside those caves, something is still waiting to be discovered. There 1. The strange signals detected by NASA. What makes Antarctica truly unsettling isn't only what can be seen, it's also what can be heard. A NASA-supported experiment called ANITA, short for Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, was designed to detect high-energy particles coming from space. But then something unexpected happened. Researchers picked up radio signals that seemed to be rising upward from beneath the ice. And that was the problem. Those signals shouldn't have been there. According to our current understanding of physics, a signal like that passing through the Earth and emerging in that way should have been nearly impossible. So either something was seriously wrong with the measurements, or we were looking at something we still don't understand. And this is where Antarctica shows its true face once again. Silent, cold, and unwilling to give answers. Some theories suggested previously unknown particles. Others drifted into much stranger territory, even entertaining the possibility of parallel universes. Whether those ideas are right or wrong is a different question, but one fact remains. Some of the signals detected in Antarctica still haven't been fully explained, and I think that's what makes this so disturbing, because sometimes the scariest thing isn't what we see, it's what we can't explain. 1. Hidden ecosystems beneath the ice. There was a time when people believed the depths of Antarctica were completely dead. No sunlight, no warmth, no real hope for life. But science has a way of quietly destroying what we once thought was certain. Because research has shown that beneath the ice, there is life. Not giant creatures, not monsters hiding in the dark, but there are ecosystems made up of microscopic organisms, surviving where life should have been impossible. These organisms don't rely on sunlight. Instead, they draw energy from chemical reactions deep within the Earth. And that changes everything. Because we tend to associate life with light, warmth, and the surface. But Antarctica tells a different story. It tells us that life can survive even in places that seem completely hopeless. And that discovery matters far beyond this continent. Because if life can survive here, beneath kilometers of ice, then maybe it can survive under the frozen crust of Mars, Europa, or worlds we haven't fully understood yet. 1. Lost Antarctic expeditions. Antarctica is terrifying not only because of its scientific mysteries, but because of the human stories buried in it. This is a continent that constantly reminds us of one thing: you are not in control here. Over the years, many explorers traveled to Antarctica. Some came back. Others disappeared into the ice and storms, and were never truly recovered. One of the most famous stories is that of Sir Ernest Shackleton and his crew in 1914. Their ship, the Endurance, became trapped in the ice and was eventually crushed. Just imagine that. You are completely cut off from civilization. All around you is ice, wind, and endless white emptiness. In a place like that, a person isn't only fighting nature, they're fighting their own mind. Shackleton and his crew survived. But not everyone was that fortunate. Some expeditions vanished without a trace. Some teams were simply swallowed by Antarctica's brutal wilderness. And to me, that is one of the darkest parts of this continent. Because Antarctica doesn't just hide secrets. Sometimes, it hides people too. 1. Blood Falls, Antarctica's red waterfall. Picture: Antarctica's frozen, silent, white landscape. Now imagine in the middle of that emptiness, a deep crimson liquid pouring out of the ice. That is exactly why Blood Falls leaves such a powerful impression on anyone who sees it for the first time. Located in Taylor Glacier, this natural phenomenon looks like something out of a nightmare, as if there's a wounded world buried beneath the ice, slowly bleeding to the surface. For years, scientists tried to understand the source of its eerie red color. At first, Some believed it might be caused by unknown microorganisms or unusual biological activity. Later, the explanation became clearer. The salty water beneath the glacier contains a high amount of iron. When that water reaches the surface and comes into contact with oxygen, the iron oxidizes, turning the flow a dark red color that resembles blood. So yes, there is a scientific explanation. But some things don't become less disturbing just because we can explain them. And blood falls is one of those things, because nature doesn't need anything supernatural to make us uncomfortable. Sometimes reality is more unsettling than fiction. 1. Meteorites. Frozen in time. Antarctica may not only be preserving secrets from Earth, it may also be preserving messages from the sky. This is one of the best places on the planet to find meteorites. For thousands of years, rocks from space have fallen onto the ice, where the frozen conditions helped preserve them almost perfectly. Over time, glaciers slowly move and concentrate these meteorites into certain regions, making them easier to find. And that means Antarctica is not only holding pieces of Earth's history, it's holding fragments of space. So far, tens of thousands of meteorites have been discovered on the continent. Some are believed to have originated from Mars. Others may have come from the moon. And I've always found that thought incredible. Because when you touch one of those rocks, you're touching something that broke away from another world and somehow ended up here, buried in the cold. But it also leads to another question. If these are the ones we've found, what else is still hidden beneath Antarctica's deep ice? Maybe there are still untouched fragments below the surface, pieces of ancient stories from space, waiting to be uncovered. 1. Mysterious radio waves. And once Antarctica starts becoming strange, it almost never stops, because the Anita signals were not the only mystery. Researchers have also recorded other unexplained radio waves that appear to come from deep beneath the ice. And there is still no clear agreement on what is causing them. Maybe they come from rare cosmic particles. Maybe there is some unusual interaction between radiation and the structure of Antarctic ice that we still don't fully understand. But all of those possibilities lead back to the same truth. We still don't know. And sometimes, we don't know is the most powerful sentence of all. Because it reminds us that Earth is not nearly as understood as we like to believe. There are still dark places, still unanswered questions, still mysteries gathering in silence. And Antarctica may be one of the places where those mysteries are concentrated the most. 1. Antarctica's restricted zones. Some areas of Antarctica are heavily protected. Not everyone can go there. In fact, certain places are only accessible to specific scientific teams. And of course, there are logical reasons for that. Protecting fragile ecosystems, preserving research sites, preventing environmental damage. But the human mind doesn't like empty spaces. Whenever access is restricted, people immediately begin to wonder what's being hidden there. That's why Antarctica's restricted zones have become the center of countless theories over the years. Some people believe they conceal major discoveries. Others think they may hold unexplained findings the public has never been told about. And some go even further than that. What I find most fascinating is this. Maybe most of those theories are wrong. Maybe there really is nothing more than scientific protection behind all of it. And yet one truth still remains. A huge part of Antarctica is still unknown. And anything unknown naturally becomes a mystery in the human mind. Ending Antarctica has always made me feel one thing more than anything else. There are still places on this planet we do not truly understand. Our technology may be advanced. We may have satellites. We may be able to explore the deep ocean and send machines into space. And yet, one of the quietest places on Earth still refuses to give us all its answers. Beneath kilometers of ice, there are hidden lakes, unexplained signals, life surviving in darkness, and maybe other things we still don't even have names for. And honestly, maybe that is exactly what makes Antarctica so fascinating. The fact that we still don't fully know it. Because sometimes the greatest fear isn't seeing what's hiding in the dark. It's feeling that something might be there. And now only one question remains. If what we already know is this unsettling, then what could still be waiting for us in the depths of Antarctica? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, because sometimes the greatest secrets in the world aren't hidden somewhere far away. They're right here on this planet.